Hey dude, we're gonna go and give you some feedback to improve your riding. We'll just go and watch the whole thing through, and then I'll see what I can notice to help break it down and try to take you to that next level of getting those cars in. Hmm. Cool. Doo-doo. We'll turn back to 480p and we'll start breaking it down. So your form's really good. Textbook, this is like the angles and right approach you want to be turning. But what we're seeing here is a lot of fluff getting popped up, and you can see you're not really getting a clean line. So that's like the next step if you want to try get better cars, would be going and turning from like this downward trajectory where you're going and scuffing out each turn to slow down to a wider turns where then you can start adding like speed checks in and then getting more on your rails and carving through the slopes. In order to do that, you're going to need to do a couple things. First of all, you need to go and not push as much with your back foot. Your board is going and kicking out too suddenly. So you're coming on your heel edge, but then you're kicking out your back foot and you're going and turning a bit too aggressive uh, sideways for the angle you're trying to do your turn. So if you want to go and do your heel side turn here, what you actually would need to do is widen your angle of approach. So you can see you're going and cutting over right to your heel edge right away. What you need to do is extend that motion. So instead, go and hold that heel edge a little bit longer and try to come out around here, coming around like this. That little bit of extra width in your cars will make it a lot easier to hold your edge, because this is like a good casual, safe way of getting down the slope. But if you want to actually carve up a mountain and get down there, you're going to need to be lighter on your back foot, making sure it's not going and kicking out like this, and making sure you're going and railing in your turns. Yeah, here I'll stop the share and I'll show you a bit more of what I mean by that. So right now you're very much carving down the slope like this, where you want it to be a lot more fluid motion coming up and around like this, going up with it. So to do that, we're going to do a couple things. First of all, adding some up and down motion in our legs. So when we're going into our turn, we're loading into a turn by squatting down and getting into it while maintaining that static position. When we're coming out of our turn, switching edges, we're lifting up. And as we lift up, we switch to our edge. We call this unweighting and weighting. You weight the edge to get more on it, get more on your edge, and push through, trying to drive your power. What you're doing is plenty of power drive, but what's happening is you're driving your power too much with your back foot with too much hip rotation, causing your board to sputter out. So what I want to see you do is go and hold that stack position, delay the motion, stay more in line, make sure your back foot isn't leading, and just staying connected and keeping everything in. And making sure your back foot isn't leading might make you think that you need to put more weight on your front foot, but it's actually the opposite. When you have your weight on your front foot set over like this, what's going to happen is when you turn, your back foot's unweighted, so it's going to lift up and push out. So you're actually going to want to go and set your weight centered, if not a little bit like this. So this is what you're doing, this is centered, and this is like maximum back. Because what this is going to do is it's going to widen your turn angles. And then the last thing you can do to tweak this is make sure you're getting on your edge before the turn. You want to get on your edge and try to match your turn angle to the amount of momentum you have. If you start turning too soon, you're going to start sputtering out. If you start turning too soft, you're not going to, get on your edge and hold that edge across the slope. So I want to see you getting on your edge, setting an edge, and falling through on that edge that whole way without you spreading out back and forth. That's going to be done by shifting your weight a little bit more centered and going and adding more bend and preemptive edge pressure. But it's looking good. Your fundamentals are all there. Now it's about going and adding that dynamics to your riding so you can go and increase your flow and increase the smoothness of your turns.